Listen carefully, because this might be the most important message you'll ever hear. Self-confidence isn't something you buy, it's something you build. And it's built in the silence, in the pain, in those lonely nights when no one is watching. You think confidence just appears. No. Confidence is born when you decide that your excuses are worthless and your potential means everything. You want to be confident? Then stop waiting for someone to validate you. Stop waiting for permission. The world doesn't care how you feel, it only respects results. When I walk into a room, I don't wonder if I belong there. You fight through exhaustion. Every moment you push past fear, every time you step out of your comfort zone, you're stacking invisible victories. Those victories build an unshakable foundation that can't be faked, can't be bought, and can be taken from you. When I walk into a room, I don't hope to be confident. I know I am, because I've built myself to that point. You can't speak confidence into existence. You have to bleed for it. That's the truth most people run from. They think confidence is about fancy clothes, fake bravado, or social media likes. But none of that means anything when your soul knows you've been avoiding the work. Confidence is when your actions scream louder than your words, when you don't need to say you're strong. Everyone can see it. When your posture, your energy, and your presence tell the story before you even open your mouth. Here's the reality. The world respects the man who's done the work. People can feel it. You can't fake the energy of someone who's been through the fire and survived. Confidence is earned in the gym when you're pushing that last rep with shaking hands. It's earned when you're broke but still believe you'll make it. It's earned when you face rejection, failure, humiliation, and you keep coming back. Every scar, every loss, every tough lesson adds to your power. The man who's never been tested can't be confident because he doesn't know who he is when life hits hard. The man who's faced it all and stood tall. That's the man who owns the room without saying a word. And here's the hook. Confidence is not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about knowing you don't have to compare yourself to anyone. You stop looking around and start looking within. You stop measuring your worth by others' opinions and start defining it by your own actions. The truth is, the world belongs to those who act, not those who doubt. While most people waste time overthinking, the confident ones are out there taking steps, making moves, breaking limits. They fail, they fall, but they rise faster every time. And with each comeback, they build a level of confidence that no setback can destroy. You want real confidence? Then stop talking and start doing. Build it in the dark. Earn it through discipline. Forge it through struggle. When you've faced enough chaos and still stood firm, confidence becomes your default state. You stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, try and stop me. That's the shift. That's the energy that changes everything. Confidence is earned through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless action. And once you've earned it, no one on this planet can take it away from you. Stop waiting for validation. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough, smart enough, or ready. The world doesn't hand out approval slips. No one's coming to give you permission to rise. You're not supposed to wait to be chosen. You're supposed to choose yourself. The truth is, every second you spend seeking validation from others, you're giving away your power. You're putting your worth in the hands of people who don't even know your story. Confidence dies the moment you depend on someone else to define who you are. The moment you start living for their approval. You start dying to your own potential. Here's the brutal truth. Most people won't support you until you've already made it. They'll doubt you, mock you, question you, and that's fine. Let them. Because the moment you stop caring what they think, you become dangerous. You stop moving like prey and start moving like a predator. The validation you're craving is an illusion. It keeps you weak. Real power is when you look in the mirror and say, I don't need anyone to believe in me. I believe in myself. That's the energy that shifts the room. That's the confidence that can't be shaken because it's not built on opinions. It's built on proof, on grit, on self-respect. You see, the weak live for applause. The strong live for purpose. The weak ask, do they like me? The strong ask, am I doing what I'm meant to do? There's a massive difference. The weak let fear control them. Fear of being judged, fear of being laughed at, fear of standing alone. But every great man you admire was once ridiculed. Every empire was built by someone who had the courage to stop listening to the noise and start trusting his own voice. Validation is a trap. It's invisible chains that keep you in a box, playing small to keep others comfortable. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that your word has power. When you tell yourself something, you deliver. That's how confidence grows, not through talk, but through proof. Think about it. When you say something and you follow through, that's a small win. Do that enough times and your subconscious starts to see you as someone reliable, someone strong. That's how unshakable confidence is born. Not in the spotlight, but in those quiet moments when you choose to do what's hard instead of what's easy. Every cold morning you get up instead of hitting snooze, every night you work while others rest, every promise you keep, those moments stack up into a wall of belief no one can knock down. You start walking differently, talking differently. You start feeling different because now you know you can depend on yourself. And that's the most powerful feeling in the world. Here's the thing. People who can't control themselves will never control their lives. If you can't keep your word to yourself, how can you expect to lead anyone else? The world doesn't respect talkers, it respects doers. The man who keeps his promises moves with quiet confidence because he doesn't need to convince anyone. His actions speak louder. You can feel it when someone's disciplined. Their presence commands attention. That kind of confidence can't be faked because it's built through sweat, pain, and consistency. And here's the hook. Confidence doesn't come from feeling ready. It comes from doing what you said you'd do even when you don't feel ready. It's when you're exhausted, but still show up. It's when you're afraid, but still take action. It's when you've failed 100 times, but still go again. That's when you earn your confidence. You can't buy that kind of belief. You build it. You don't wait for it. You create it. Every single time you follow through, you tell your mind, I'm the kind of person who does what I say. And when your mind believes that, you become unstoppable. The truth is, most people want to believe in themselves, but they haven't earned the right to. They make promises, break them, and then wonder why they feel weak. You want to change that? Then make your word law. Treat every promise to yourself like a contract that cannot be broken. When you say something, make it happen no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're tired, broke, or scared, do it anyway. That's how you teach your mind to trust you again. That's how you rebuild your confidence from the ground up. And soon you'll notice something powerful. You won't need motivation anymore. You won't need validation because your confidence will come from proof, not hype. You'll know that when you say you'll do something, you will. That kind of self-trust is rare. It's magnetic. It's what separates leaders from followers, the strong from the average. So remember this. Confidence is not about saying, I can do it. It's about knowing that whatever you decide, you'll make it happen. And that certainty, that unbreakable trust in yourself, that's the ultimate power. Fear is the gatekeeper of confidence. Every person you see walking with certainty has faced fear and crushed it. The difference between those who rise and those who crumble is simple. One runs from fear, the other walks straight into it. Fear is not your enemy, it's your invitation to grow. It's life's way of asking, how bad do you want it? Because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. Strength, confidence, freedom. But most people never get there because they quit the moment fear shows its face. They retreat, they hesitate, they play it safe. And in doing so, they stay trapped, never realizing that fear is nothing more than the reflection of their own potential waiting to be unlocked. You see, the man who fears nothing hasn't lived enough, but the man who faces his fears daily becomes unstoppable. Confidence doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation. When you fact what scares you, your brain rewires itself. You begin to understand that fear is just a signal, not a stop sign. The first time you step into the unknown, it feels terrifying. The second time, it feels challenging. The third time, it feels natural. And soon, what once scared you becomes routine, and that's how growth happens. Not in the comfort zone, but in the storm. You become confident not because you eliminate fear, but because you learn how to move through it. Here's the truth. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's mastery over it. You can't wait to feel ready. You'll never feel ready. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need confidence before taking action, when in reality, action creates confidence. You act first. Confidence comes later. You jump before you know how to land. That's how warriors are made. Every great leader, every high achiever you admire, they were all terrified before they began. But they acted anyway, because they understood that comfort is the enemy of progress. You can't build confidence if you never put yourself in situations that test it. Let me tell you something. Fear will always be there. It whispers in your ear every time you try to level up. It tells you you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. And most people listen to that voice. But you silence it with action. You look fear dead in the eye and move anyway. That's what separates winners from losers. The man who runs from fear stays weak. The man who faces it grows strong. Confidence comes from collecting victories against fear. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you do what you thought you couldn't, you gain another piece of unshakable self-belief. And here's the hook. Fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to train you. It's life's way of filtering out the weak. Every challenge you face, every obstacle that scares you is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Fear isn't your enemy. It's your coach. It's testing your commitment. It's asking, do you really want this, or are you just pretending? And if you face it, you'll realize that fear loses its power the moment you take action, because action kills fear faster than anything else. Imagine this. You've got two choices. Stay where you are, safe but unsatisfied, or face fear and grow into the version of yourself that dominates life. Most people choose safety, but the greats, they choose war. They step into fear's territory every day, and because of that, they become fearless. Not because fear disappears, but because it stops controlling them. That's where real confidence is born. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in chaos. When you walk through fire and survive, you stop doubting your strength. You start realizing that you're capable of handling anything life throws at you. The world belongs to those who move despite fear, the ones who feel it and act anyway. You want to build confidence? Chase fear. Go after the things that make your hands shake, your heart race, your mind scream no, because that's where you'll find the real version of yourself. Every time you face fear, you strip away weakness and reveal power. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start saying, what if I never try? That's the mindset of a warrior. That's how confidence is forged, through pain, through fear, through the relentless decision to move forward when everything inside you wants to stop. Real confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It walks into a room and changes the atmosphere without saying a single word. It's the quiet power that makes people turn their heads, not because you're loud or flashy, but because your presence speaks louder than any voice ever could. The truth is, the man who truly knows himself doesn't chase attention. Attention chases him. You don't need to prove anything when your aura already demands respect. That's the difference between noise and presence. Confidence isn't about making the world notice you. It's about being so grounded in who you are that the world has no choice but to notice. You can tell the difference immediately. The loud ones, the ones constantly showing off, talking big, posting every move, they're seeking validation. They want the world to fill the void they haven't filled themselves. But the calm, collected one in the corner, the one who doesn't say much, the one who simply exists with certainty, that's the man who's earned his confidence through pain, through discipline, through results. You can't fake that kind of power. It's magnetic because it's real. It's built from the inside out, not the outside in. You've got to understand this. The strongest energy in any room doesn't come from noise. It comes from control. Control over your emotions, your reactions, your actions, and your purpose. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't need to shout about it. Your energy speaks for you. Your eyes tell the story. Your body language communicates dominance before your mouth even opens. Confidence is not arrogance, it's certainty. It's not pretending to be untouchable. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. The man who commands a room without a word is the man who's faced himself, his fears, his failures, his demons, and conquered them. That's why his silence feels powerful, because behind that silence is mastery. Here's the thing. Anyone can talk. Anyone can act confident for a few minutes when life is easy. But real confidence reveals itself in the hardest moments. When things go wrong, when pressure builds, when chaos hits, that's when the confident man stays calm. While others panic, he observes. While others react, he calculates. While others break down, he adapts. That's what makes him stand out. Confidence under fire. It's not about pretending nothing scares you. It's about remaining composed even when everything does. That's how you earn respect without ever asking for it. People are drawn to stability, to control, to presence. Be that anchor. Be the calm in the storm. And here's the hook. Your silence can be your loudest weapon, because silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to question, to think, to feel your presence. A man who can control his words controls the room. A man who can control his reactions controls the world. Don't waste energy proving who you are. Show it through your consistency, your strength, your results. That's how you make noise without speaking. When your actions echo louder than your words, people start paying attention, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. When you command yourself, you command your surroundings. Every move you make radiates confidence because it's rooted in self-control. You don't flinch, you don't overreact, you don't compete for attention. You attract it naturally. That's what separates the leaders from the followers. Real confidence isn't about dominating others, it's about dominating yourself. And once you've mastered that, no one can ignore you. People feel your presence because it carries weight. The weight of discipline, of struggle, of resilience. You don't just walk into rooms, you shift the energy within them. So stop chasing attention and start building presence. Stop talking and start showing. Be the man who doesn't need to announce his worth because his actions speak volumes. The world respects results, not noise. When your silence carries authority, when your focus commands attention, when your energy demands respect, that's when you've reached the highest form of confidence. You've become the man who doesn't compete for space because he is the space. The kind of man who walks in and everyone instantly knows that's someone who's not here to prove a point. He is the point. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It's a decision you make. The mistake most people make is sitting around waiting to feel confident before they take action. They think one day they'll wake up ready, fearless, and certain. But that day never comes. Confidence doesn't appear first. Action does. You don't feel confident and then act. You act. And that's what creates confidence. Every time you move before you feel ready. Every time you do what you're afraid of. Every time you take a risk. You're teaching your mind to trust you. Confidence is born the moment you decide to move, not when you feel like moving. The decision comes first, the feeling follows. This is what separates winners from everyone else. Most people hesitate because they're waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right level of courage. But the truth is that perfect moment doesn't exist. You make it perfect by showing up. You decide you're done hesitating, done doubting, done letting fear dictate your life. That's when everything changes. Confidence isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build every time you choose action over hesitation. It's a switch you flip in your mind that says, I'm doing this no matter what. You've got to understand, confidence doesn't mean you won't have fear. It means you won't let fear decide for you. It means you move forward while fear screams in your ear, and you keep going until its voice fades. Every great person you admire, every leader, every fighter, every entrepreneur felt fear just like you do. The difference? They didn't wait for it to disappear. They moved through it. They acted while afraid, and that's what made them powerful. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the refusal to let it stop you. Confidence is the proof that you faced that fear and survived. Here's the hook. The world doesn't reward those who wait, it rewards those who move. The man who waits for confidence never achieves it. The man who acts without it earns it. Every small action you take builds momentum, and momentum is confidence in motion. You start to realize that you don't need to feel powerful to be powerful. You just need to act like the person you want to become. Because eventually, your actions reprogram your mind. You start to believe in yourself not because someone told you to, but because you've seen yourself doing the things you once thought were impossible. That's how you transform, not through thoughts, but through decisive movement. And that's where discipline becomes your weapon. Discipline means doing what must be done, whether you feel confident or not. It means showing up when your mind screams, not today. You do it anyway. You execute without emotion. Because confidence grows through proof, and proof only comes from doing. Every repetition, every difficult choice, every uncomfortable step forward, it's all evidence that you can rely on yourself. You become a person who doesn't wait for the right moment because you create the right moment. That's real confidence. The kind that's built through action, not emotion. Stop thinking, start moving. That's the rule. The more you act, the less you doubt. The more you decide, the stronger you become. Every decision is a brick, and each brick builds your foundation of certainty. The weak live in hesitation. The strong live in motion. Because hesitation breeds anxiety and action breeds clarity. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the first step. Once you do, momentum will carry you and confidence will follow naturally. That's how you train your mind to believe. Not through words, but through consistent evidence that you're capable. And here's the truth most people never realize. Confidence isn't something you chase, it's something you become. It's a byproduct of facing life head on, of refusing to freeze under pressure, of making decisions even when your hands shake. The moment you stop waiting to feel ready, you take control of your destiny. You begin to understand that confidence isn't an emotional state. It's a personal standard. It's saying, I will act no matter. The man who decides without fear becomes the man everyone else looks up to. Because confidence doesn't belong to those who are born brave. It belongs to those who choose to be brave. So make the decision today, right now, to move. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy, but now. That's where real confidence begins, in the decision to act when everything in you says, Don, the next time fear whispers in your ear, remember, you've conquered worse before. The next time you feel small, remind yourself, every great man started where you are now. Confidence isn't an emotion, it's a decision. So decide today. No more hesitation, no more self-doubt. Walk like you already own your destiny. Because the truth is, if you believe in yourself with unshakable certainty, the world won't have a choice but to believe too.